Hi guys! By the time you watch this, this might already have happened. But thanks to all your reactions to my Monster Hunter videos, I will be streaming Monster Hunter World tomorrow! Dun dun dun! That's right, tomorrow! Today we will be watching JoCat's crap guide to Monster Hunter World weapon series. Which one should I pick? Let's find out!
So Monster Hunter World is coming to PC soon. That means there's going to be a whole bunch of nooblets that aren't going to know how to play the game. And because I am the most well-known Monster Hunter content creator and greatest Monster Hunter player in the whole world, I know people are just clamoring for a guide from yours truly. Forget Gaijin Hunter, forget Arix Gaming, because they have no idea what they're talking about. Welcome to a crap guide to Monster Hunter.
Crap guide, look how cute that is, the little kitty.
Today we're going over the Greatsword, Monster Hunter's most iconic weapon, well, aside from the sword and shield. It's a weapon that's really good for people who are used to being disappointed, because you will never hit anything with this weapon, as it's slower than a tortoise on its way to a Monopoly game at the DMV. But on the off chance that you do hit something, you do some pretty decent damage. Not as much as a sword and shield, but it's comparable. When you ready your swing, there are 3 levels of...
I was just about to say, this looks like the last weapon I would pick because it looks so slow, and then he's like, yeah, this is the slowest weapon ever. You'll never hit anything.
Charge, each one doing more damage than the last, like masturbating multiple times a day. And like masturbating multiple times a day, if you overdo it, the next hit won't be as powerful. On top of this, you can tackle out of a charge, but if you do this, you are a wimp. No one tackles out of their charge. You're gonna commit and see that swing go through because you're not some pansy bow user canceling their shot to preserve stamina and reposition like some kind of Khonshu sympathizer. You're swinging a goddamn Greatsword, and you're gonna stand your ground like the Great Wall of China, mostly ineffective but too much of a visual marvel to be torn down. And lastly, there's one more move in the Greatsword's arsenal, but it's a very dangerous one that can rip the fabric of space and time if used without proper constraint. In fact, you used to be able to do this regardless of your weapon in the previous games, but it's been removed in Monster Hunter World, save for some specific circumstances. A secret technique passed down for generations, one that the Elder Dragons hide in fear at the mere mention of it. This move is the kick. Really, all you ever have to do if you want to win any fight, simply kick the monster and you cannot lose. Now you know how to use the Greatsword. You're welcome.
I like the idea of just kicking enemies. Kick. Kick. That sounds like a great idea, but no. Greatsword, too slow. You're too slow. Let's watch the next one.
Let me ask you something. Are you the kind of person who likes to turn the difficulty knob all the way down to a baby mode for babies? Do you like picking up on popular trends so you don't miss out on being included like the desperate to fit in anxious loser you are? While your peers were out having real lives and learning practical and social skills, were you busy studying the blade? Well, hug your nearest otaku body pillow in celebratory fashion because I have the perfect weapon for you. Welcome to a crap guide to Monster Hunter.
The longsword, okay.
The longsword couldn't be any easier to use if the monsters you were fighting had frenzy cancer and were on life support.
Wait. That was too fast. You didn't let me read it. That was too fast. Anime bullshit, weeb bait, easy mode, smells surprisingly nice. Okay. Easy mode appeals to me.
Use if the monsters you were fighting had frenzy cancer and were on life support. That's right, I just said what everyone else is thinking. Your reach is so far out there it could be mistaken for a flat earth theory. And your swing arcs are so all over the place and so fast like some kind of sword and shield wannabe, it turns the game into a cakewalk, like picking Bayonetta. This is a weeb weapon, perfect for anyone who unironically likes Sword Art Online and wants to anime it up. The most anime move being the Helmbreaker, where you launch yourself up the monster, slashing down and causing residual explosions after the initial cut. I have no idea why it does this, but if I had to guess, it's by the power of pure weeb seeping into the monster causing cringe damage. The other anime move is the Foresight Slash, a stance that counters any attack that comes your way. And because I'm so good at Monster Hunter, I don't feel the need to show you all the footage of the myriad of times I was able to pull it off. Because I totally did pull it off every time I used it. Stop asking so many questions. However, there is a catch to these moves in that they're reliant on your spirit gauge, like a preteen reliant on their parent to bring them to that upcoming anime convention full of neckbeards. You fill it up by doing normal attacks and expend it by pressing R2, chaining together wide flashy swings that cannot bounce no matter how tough the hide of the monster. As if this weapon wasn't easy enough already. You finish it off with a roundhouse slash, increasing your damage to a maximum of 3 levels, and pose for the camera while dramatically sheathing your weapon. Seriously, what the hell is it with anime and sheathing swords? Your job as the longsword is to be an annoying little shit and interrupt everybody's attacks with your giant-ass swing arcs. It's okay, though, because you're at the top of the tier list and everybody only hates you because of how good you are. And definitely not because of how you jumped on the bandwagon because you saw it at the top of the tier list, like picking Bayonetta. Now you know how to use the longsword. You're welcome.
Jumping on the bandwagon because it looks easy. Is it really easy?
Sometimes timing your attacks is too hard. Sometimes you just want to sit back and relax and hunt some dragons and dinosaurs without having to worry about wind-ups and cooldowns on attacks. And sometimes you're a filthy casual who can't put in the time to learn mechanics, so you pick the least punishing weapon, you plebeian.
Wait.
Welcome to A Crap Guide to Monster Hunter.
Wait! That sounds like me! The jewel blades! I was looking at the jewel
Dual
blades!
wielding in the real world is impractical unless you're an extremely skilled fighter, so don't flatter yourself if that's the reason you pick the dual blades, because they require zero skill.
Wait, stop! Anime bullshit, you will miss often. I mean, like, a lot. You really... Oh no, I will miss often? Oh no, I was looking at these. I thought these looked pretty cool.
In this game, all you ever have to do is button mash, and the cooldowns of each attack is so short, getting out of the way is no problem. There's no need to anticipate the monster's moves at all, just mash accordingly and hit dodge. It's just like playing Assassin's Creed. But hold on to your black eyeliner and better practice that intimidating stare, because by pressing R2 you go into Demon Mode, where you start running around like Naruto. And in this mode you can button mash extra hard, but be careful though, because in this mode you start to lose stamina rapidly, and if you use it too liberally you'll last about as long as a nerdy college virgin. Attacks in this mode fill up a gauge similar to the Longsword. Hell, I guess weeb weapons tend to have a lot in common, and while the gauge is filled, you have access to some of the damage and attacks of Demon Mode while you're recovering stamina. Most of your hunts will probably consist of you desperately attempting to recreate the Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate trailer, because damn it, it's in the game now, and it's so satisfying to pull off, you keep trying and trying to get that perfect jumping attack, and then your family gets concerned asking you if you're back on dash juice. The dual blades are puny weapons that have among the lowest damage per hit, but fortunately they hit frequently, which allows you to take advantage of monsters' elemental weaknesses.
Yeah, I like
Except
that. I like
you won't do
fast
it nearly
weapons.
as well as the sword and shield, as the dual blades are inferior in every way. I mean, seriously, you can't even use items while it's unsheathed, and you have to rely on a temporary buff to deal decent damage, which is the most nonsensical thing. Why should you rely on a temporary buff to make yourself viable? I'm looking at you, Hunting Horn. On a totally unrelated note, Capcom, why didn't you keep oils for the sword and shield? Do you hate sword and shield or something? Anyway, now you know how to use dual blades. You're welcome.
Okay. Actually, as much as he shit all over them, dual blades, so far #1 on my list. There you go.
Hey you, yeah you, I need you to do something for me. Take your controller, rip out the top and right face buttons, cause you won't need them for this weapon. In fact, go ahead and tear out everything that isn't the left thumbstick, the bottom face button, and the right trigger, cause the only way to win is to spin. Welcome to A Crap Guide to Monster Hunter.
The only way to win is to spin. Ah, the hammer.
Even though there are moves associated with those buttons, I can tell you now that they're worthless cherries on top, and I don't much care for cherries. They're like hipster grapes. The only viable move you'll need is the charge up. Forget mounting, forget the golf swing, and forget buffing your hammer, because you won't need any of it. The hammer is an absolute powerhouse weapon that rivals the Greatsword when it...
Stop talking. There we go. Heavy as balls, spin to win. Won't pop the guns and still have to sharpen it.
comes to raw damage. You will wreck face with this thing, quite literally. Rathalos won't even be able to glance at Rathian without spontaneously losing his tail after you're done with her. And like the Greatsword, you have 3 levels of charge, resulting in 3 different attacks of varying power. Kind of like the different types of gas at the gas station, except these actually have a noticeable difference. The highest level of charge will have you spinning, like the July weather in Louisiana if released while moving. Unfortunately, just like the Greatsword, your swings have very long startup and cooldown, which will give you a lot of time to cry at the fact that all the endgame hammers look the goddamn same. Where the hell is my gun hammer, Capcom? Yes, this thing sacrifices elegance for power, kind of like a male porn star. Capcom was able to perfectly simulate what a weapon with this massive swing would do to a real-life monster, and they deemed it too powerful. It's part of why you have to sharpen an otherwise blunt weapon. So they toned down the one that we got in the game down to 10% of its full potential, which is only 0.025 of that of the Sword and Shield. In fact, I was able to hack into the game and reintroduce the since removed code, and this was the result.
Hey, this one looks like it's gonna be too slow for me. Too slow of a weapon. Jewel blades, still at number 1.
Now you know how to use the hammer. You're welcome. And by the way, thank you for 1,000 subscribers. The Bard is the best class in any RPG, and you can't change my mind. So you better bet your precious golden Wyverian print that the Hunting Horn is the real monster around these parts.
Goodness,
what, you thought that comment about buffs was made with malice? Everybody knows shit-talking the Hunting Horn is sure to get your eardrums ruptured and your pants filled with the aftermath of the Brown Note. Welcome to A Crap Guide to Monster Hunter.
Hunting Horn.
Take the raw damage and Rathian uglifying knockout capabilities of the hammer and slap on the ass-kicking power of music, and you have yourself a weapon that wouldn't be caught dead under the label of support.
Tried to kill the metal recruited it, but cheek holster, no weaknesses. Okay.
Port, but I guess nothing will stop developers from trying to tell you how you should play their game.
But don't take this support weapon for granted.
This thing does impact damage just like the hammer, so it's great for breaking monster parts like my heart after a long-term relationship ends in disaster. But on top of this, each button press corresponds to a different colored note, depending on if you hit the top face button, the right face button, or both. Then, once you have the proper notes lined up, pressing R2 lets you play a song to buff both you and your allies. But don't prematurely end that performance of your amateur high school band that's not quite good enough to sound like a legitimate band, but not quite awful enough to be ironically enjoyable, and it's just in that awkward place where it makes people uncomfortable just yet, because playing it a second time quickly after the first increases the buff's potency. And if you're good enough, like me, you can line up several songs to play at once. Just remember to sharpen your horn if it starts to sound a little flat. Yes, I know, what an original joke, I'm such a comedy genius. Don't let anyone tell you you're the heel bitch, because you're so much more than that. Besides, if you so wish, you can choose not to give them that health recovery that they so desperately need for some sweet karmic justice. Screw you, guy, I'm a giant loot-wielding badass, not some loser support that can't pull their DPS weight and has to rely on gimmicks to make a decent contribution to the hunt. What do you take me for, the light bowgun? Now you know how to use the hunting horn, you're welcome.
Screw you, I'm not gonna heal you!
So let's say you're a bit cautious at getting close to the monster and you'd like to hide behind a near impenetrable wall while you hack away at your target, occasionally doing sick jump attacks. You want something that's simple to learn but hard to master and has quite the bit of utility despite its initial simple nature. Well, sorry to disappoint you, but this isn't the Sword and Shield guide. I'm showing off the Pokey Stick. Welcome to a crap guide to Monster Hunter.
Pokey Stick! The Pokey Stick weapon!
The Lance is the closest thing Monster Hunter has to a tank class, and although its blocking abilities aren't nearly as good as the Sword and Shields, it is capable of keeping you solidly planted and unmoved by some of the heaviest attacks the New World can throw at you. Though you cannot kick from the guarding position, you can do something almost as good. That is, by pressing the right face button from behind the shield, you can activate a counter that actually works. No, I'm not still salty about the Longsword, shut up. And even if you don't get attacked before the counter timer is up, you'll throw a powerful lunge like some insecure nice guy sending insults to a girl who didn't immediately respond to his 3 a.m. text message. You can also poke from behind the shield, but you didn't join the commission just so you could hide from the monster. That's what the range weapons are for. Your primary moveset consists of various different flavors of pokes, so get that side slap shit out of here. We're hard and coming to thrust fast and penetrate any cracks in any monster's thick hide. You can do a combination of low or high thrusts up to 3 consecutive times, as well as a short hop in the cardinal directions for the same amount. Just try to remember the rule of 3. I personally remind myself by chanting the names of the Powerpuff Girls. No, it's not weird, but the unanimously agreed upon objectively best move in the Lance's arsenal is the dash attack. By pressing both attack buttons while blocking, you start rolling around at the speed of sound. Forget trotting around the arena like a peasant while wielding this oversized spear. It's time to travel in style. And to top it all off, it's the perfect way to rack up damage on that monster that's desperately reaching for its life alert. Your job is to get into the thick of things with your comically massive lance thrusting.
Getting into the thick of
this
things
thing is a gentleman's weapon,
like
oozing with confidence and precision. It's strong and functional without trying to be overly flashy like its half-gun counterpart. And if you ever find yourself in an arena with mirroring climbing spots, the monster best remember its safe word, because it's time for
Non-stop rapid-fire penetrating action.
And now you know how to use the lance. You're welcome.
Yeah, that getting into the action? Nah. All that talk of standing back? Yeah, but still, dual blades. They're the one I'm gonna try first so far.
Let's say you can't decide between using a ranged or melee weapon. You want to be well protected, but you also like getting up close and personal. The lance is cool, but you know what would be cooler? If we slapped on a huge-ass gun and bayonet at the top. Well, I'd say that's a weirdly specific set of tastes, but as strange as it is, there is a weapon like that. Welcome to a crap guide to Monster Hunter.
Gunlance.
The Gunlance continues the trend of being anime as shit. Instead of putting a tactical knife at the end of a gun barrel, no, the master engineers over in Japan decided to flip the roles and attach a gun to something with a blade instead. To this end, the Gunlance is the Lance's louder, more obnoxious cousin.
No, this is my boomstick slashes for some reason. John Lee Hooker's main. Phallic joke, okay. These are so funny. They're so fast and my brain is like, whee, going a million miles a minute. But they're super funny.
That they try to avoid eye contact with at family reunions. Believe it or not, most of your heavy-hitting moves involve slashing, not thrusting. Stop being so weird, Gunlance. This is why Sword and Shield doesn't visit anymore. Some of the same poking moves are shared here, but instead of a high thrust, pressing the right face button will blast around all up in the monster. What, you thought you could actually take advantage of the gun part and attack at a distance? Hell no, that would actually make sense, and you're playing a game where jellyfish can fly, frogs can explode, and the Sword and Shield is considered bottom tier. There's a whole lot of weird shit that makes no sense. You can fire a number of shells before having to reload depending on what type of
and the Sword and Shield's considered bottom tier? I heard loads of people say the Sword and Shield was good. Did I imagine that? Or is the tier list bullshit?
shelling your equipped Gunlance has. There are other properties to the different types of shells, but honestly nobody cares. Be careful though, because firing it will eat through your sharpness faster than the time between a green light and the car behind you honking impatiently. By firing your shell multiple times, your pole will get really excited before ejecting its worm stake, then laying down and having a smoke. But if you're more of a one and done kind of hunter who only cares about finishing as quickly as possible, by pressing both attack buttons while guarding, you can fire up some white hot explosive goodness all over the monster's face. Most casual players who never really get into Monster Hunter cite how the game is slow and clunky, and based on my detective intuition, I can deduce that they were all using the Gunlance. This thing is slow as hell and gives the Greatsword to run for its money when it comes to attacks that you have to run background checks on, take out to dinner, meet its parents, and listen to its life story before you're not even halfway through its swing. You sacrifice the flexibility of a super block, a reliable counter, and a dash attack for the ability to make low-effort innuendos. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry, Rathian, I promise this doesn't usually happen. And now you know how to use the Gunlance, you're welcome.
Okay, so the Gunlance looks like it's too slow. Too slow. You're too slow.
On days like these, I feel like I really want to use more than just one weapon. I also really want to explode all up in the monster's business, but I don't want to use the asthmatic moveset of the Gunlance. Well, Joseph, you should try the switch axe, you say. And I say, did you just assume my weapon type? Fuck you, and welcome to a crap guide to Monster Hunter. If you ever feel like you don't fit into any one weapon style and identify as weapon fluid, well then it's just your luck, because on today's installment of Anime Bullshit Weapons, we have the transforming switch axe. If you took the endless combos and power building of the Longsword and
Swingity swooty, reloading is for bitches. More than meets the eye, mainly DPS.
temporary buffing stance of the dual blades and combine them into something that actually requires skill, you'll get this engineer's nightmare of a weapon. By default, you'll be in axe mode, where everything you do is average. Average move speed, average attack speed, average damage, it's all pretty mediocre. However, instead of needing to take years of hormones, therapy, and unwarranted abuse, by pressing R2 you seamlessly transition into sword mode, where your move speed is traded off for stronger attacks that can charge up a meter similar to the longsword that once maxed out will have you discharging files based on your equipped switch axe. Your sword mode does require time to recharge though, so be sure you give it some time to rest, maybe tuck it in, read it a story, perhaps some bed and breakfast and a foot massage. If it weren't for the fact that the longsword was training wheels on training wheels and the sword and shield is the only obvious choice, the switch axe is perfect for anyone who's absolutely garbage at Monster Hunter, i.e. most of you. In battle, you'll be going back and forth between modes like some douchebag making jerk-ass comments and backpedaling depending on if he's criticized or not. But forget all that, just like the Gunlance, the only move that actually matters is by pressing the right and top face button simultaneously, you'll start building an elemental discharge. But don't stop there, like I said, the switch axe requires a lot of love and support. So once it starts, be sure to mash the top face button like you're a parent shouting at your trophy child that if they don't make the goal, you're gonna have to bust out the studded belt, like the caring and responsible parent you are. This will unleash a devastating blow, and if your sword mode has been fed up nice and fat, you'll climb up onto the monster who won't be able to shake you off no matter how much Taylor Swift they listen to. And now you know how to use the switch axe, you're welcome.
Okay. I know
Every now and then, we feel pretty content with ourselves, satisfied with our own capabilities and limitations. But then there's always a younger and more successful new hotness coming along, showing us that there will always be someone to pass the torch to, and carry on the legacy to meet and maybe even surpass our own expectations. So if anyone can show me a weapon like that, I'd gladly drop the sword and shield, because it's certainly not this mighty morphing monstrosity. Welcome to a crap guide to Monster Hunter.
Charge blade.
If you ever feel like you're the smartest person in the room, firstly I'd like you to look up the Dunning-Kruger effect. Then I'd like to introduce you to the Charge Blade, a weapon that requires more prep work to get going than an elder
Foreplay for days, layers like an ogre, can't use items, what the fuck, passes as both, no effort.
None in the Mojave Desert. The Charge Blade is the ambitious little brother of the Sword and Shield who's been hanging out a little bit too long with the switch axe. It's considered one of the most technical and complicated weapons in the roster, which should be no problem for a monster hunting pro like me, who can't research the deeper quirks of a weapon and gives out incorrect information because he's desperately rushing to meet an arbitrary deadline. You'll climb up onto the monster who won't be able to shake you off no matter how much Taylor Swift they listen to. While in sword mode, you have your basic watered down rip-off S&S moveset. Advancing slash, short combo, block, bash, spin. It's okay, Charge Blade, we all want to be Sword and Shield when we grow up. What really feeds my Devil Joe is the Charge Blade's charging files mechanic. The most notable move is a chargeable slash via holding the right face button that starts to power up elemental files a la pick your favorite weeb trash. Once they reach red, you better charge them up by way of right face button while blocking, or else you'll be bouncing off of a monster like insults being thrown at someone with crippling depression. Charging these files is essential to many of the intricacies of this weapon. And because I'm such an expert, I'm going into deep detail about all the Charge Blade's ins and outs, so I hope you're paying close attention because I'm not slowing down for you. Are you ready? Too bad, here we go.
Uh-oh.
You primarily charge your blade by holding the right face button. Other attacks comboed out of it can cause files as well, just not nearly as much. So it's best to primarily use the charge up slash while littering in other attacks to keep a healthy onslaught to the monster. Just remember to keep an eye on them, because if you're bouncing, you aren't loading your files. And if you aren't loading your quickly match off the attack so that all the charge files your rusty blocking board. Now you can block extra good. Don't you stop there just yet, because it's time to charge more files.
Oh no, my brain, I'm dead. It kills me.
You got all that? Good, because I'm not repeating it. Now you know how to use the charge blade. You're welcome.
Okay, charge blade sounds complicated.
You know, we hunters can be pretty ruthless sometimes, showing up to a monster's habitat and wailing on them when they were just minding their own business. And no matter how many times they think they've killed us, we always show up again and remind them what the definition of insanity is. So I find it pretty easy to empathize with the beasts when I could have sworn I swatted this fly like 2 hours ago!
Get out of here, you scheming piece of shit! Rub your hands together! Just die already!
Welcome to a crap guide to Monster Hunter.
That is my life. If there's ever a bug in my room, my life.
The Insect Glaive. The weapon everybody asked to prom when it was introduced in Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, while the smart, handsome, and sensitive Charge Blade was left on the sidelines because it didn't know how to communicate its feelings properly. To this end, the Insect Glaive knows how to draw a crowd by being
Jump around. Mustard. Human helicopter. Stinks like dung.
a flippy, flashy asshole. Your attacks are fast-hitting and wide-sweeping, and although I'd usually talk about the weapon's moveset, I can tell you now that it doesn't matter, because you won't be sitting on the filthy ground. Your time is going to be spent annoying the ever-living hell out of the monster by whizzing around it like this fly that won't just let me kill it! You can leap into the air by holding R2 and pressing the bottom face button. And if you're a slut for using stamina, and you must be because you have 2 bars of it now, you can hit the bottom face button again while airborne to get a burst of farts projecting you into your currently inputted direction. And you can keep up this aerial onslaught by pressing the right face button that, if connects, will launch you back into the air to repeat the process. There's absolutely no reason to do anything else. With how flashy and stamina consuming this maneuver is, there's no way it doesn't do tons and tons of damage. So you should absolutely only do this the entire fight and nothing else. But on the off chance that you do land on the disgusting toad-ridden floors of the new world, you can aim your Kinsect by holding the left trigger, and no, sorry, you can't use your slinger. Only the mighty sword and shield could handle a tool so powerful. Instead, this reticle allows you to launch your Kinsect to go out and gather essence from the monster depending on where it lands. For instance, this red essence lets me know that this Lagiana's favorite ice cream flavor is Bitterbug with sprinkles. If you're able to gather all 3 essence, you'll unlock the ability to Super Spin! And if you're not a monster hunting pro like me and have trouble gathering the 3 different colored essence, you can press the right trigger while aiming to fire mustard at the monster. And every hunter knows bitches love mustard, so your Kinsect will fly in bombarding the monster while leaving little fart clouds of various benefits.
Complicated.
And really, with the Kinsect locked onto the monster, you don't even have to do anything. Just sit back, relax, and watch the pretty colors. Now you know how to use the Insect Glaive. You're welcome.
Yeah, it sounds complicated.
Ah, the ranged weapons, aka Conchu sympathizers, because they never had to deal with the frustration of bouncing off the hard-shelled bastards. Good news for all you ranged weapon mains too scared to be hurt by the big angry monster, because in World they've been overhauled so that using them doesn't feel like shoving a kebab of 5 cacti up your ass. Now it's more like 2 cacti and a soft pillow instead. Welcome to a crap guide to Monster Hunter.
Light Bowgun. Okay, Light Bowgun I was looking at too.
The Light Bowgun is kind of like the sword and shield of ranged weapons, except if it was lame and had to catch its breath every 5 seconds. It's fast, it's simple, and you don't have to sacrifice mobility like a certain
slide, reload, assist all the way, heal slut.
Another Rambo movie buff. Look, it's even got its own cute little version of a shield bash. Unfortunately, the biggest reason the light bowgun doesn't reach the godly status of the sword and shield, aside from how you can't use items while it's unsheathed, is because its power is finite. You rely on ammo, and all of the range weapons have a mechanic called critical distance, where like Goldilocks, you have to find the range that's just right for the ammo that you're shooting. Or else you might as well be giving the monster a really bad massage with what little damage you do outside of that range. On top of this, when firing one of the various types of status building bullets, you squat for damage. This is part of why, more so than the hunting horn,
that actually sounds something like a mistake I would make. Why I would be out of range and do no damage. Yeah, that's a bit risky.
Many people consider the light bowgun the real support weapon, but I know it's set up to turn it into a DPS machine. You see all these different types of ammo? Fuck them, we don't need them. This right here, this is the only type of ammo that actually matters. It can sever tails, it ignores armor, and you don't have to settle on carrying less than a quadriplegic toddler. And of course the new mechanic, you can lay down wyvern blasts, they're trip mines, it's not that hard to understand. You know what, I think I've been too hard on this thing. So let's slap on some wide range, load up on projectile lime juice, and shoot up some friends with delicious drugs. We're going full support, baby. Oh, you low on health? Let me fill you up. Hey buddy, I think you can use some damage buffs. Boom, now you're rock hard. Ain't nobody gonna be able to topple this wall. Yes, please get hurt more, don't worry. I'll make sure your strong, bulging health bar won't get too low. Now here, take this healing shot. Eat it. Now you know how to use the light bowgun, you're welcome.
Alright, so lots of heals. Still think the jewel blades might be the one I try first.
Plenty of people will argue it's not the size that matters, it's how you use it. Those people have never blasted berry caliber hot lead all over a giant fluffy pink flaming sinus T-Rex while wearing an electro horse's skin as assless chaps alongside a self-aware cat companion donning a voxel Mega Man suit and a tiny sword. And those people need a reality check. Welcome to A Crap Guide to Monster Hunter. If you've wanted to use an actual gun and not a practice in patience, the heavy bowgun is great, since you can deal damage at a distance that could actually justify the title of range weapon. Every ammo type the light bowgun can use is also available to the heavy, plus a few extras. The only thing not carried over from the tiny whiny plinker flinker is the wyvern blast. Oh no, how sad. The additional Rathian spankingly awesome ammo types include firing frickin' mortars from the sky, and the Gunlance's wyvern fire without needing to wait for the weapon to cool down. Having trouble keeping it up, Gunlance? Heavy bowgun over here just shot its load, but it can go 4 more rounds already. In place of the amazing wyvern blast, the thick long rifle has 2 special ammo types, Rambo Heart and Boring Snipe. Boring Snipe is boring. You lay down to fire a single piercing shot and see the return of cringe damage. Rambo Heart, on the other hand, lets you daka until the Aptonos come home. And while you probably don't do as much overall...
Aiming looks like a problem, actually. Aiming looks like something I may have a problem with. Yeah, I'm not the best at aiming. Anyone who's watched me play anything will know I'm not the best at aiming. And this one looks a little bit slow.
Burst damage as a boring snipe, what you do, I said doo-doo, is spray a whole lot of berries and rack up some nice KO damage. Boring snipe might be a burst of pleasure all at once, but Rambo is a constant burn. Ooh yeah. While the light bowgun is busy applying status ailments and trying not to get pushed into lockers, your role as the heavy is to light them up and keep at a safe distance, since your dodge covers a surprising amount of ground despite its slow speed. Additionally, your overall larger clip size means everybody likes a heavy bowgun party because a heavy bowgun party won't let the monster catch its breath. Why are you reloading? Did I say you could stop? Now you know how to use the heavy bowgun. You're welcome. They call it tactical, but you should never retreat from a monster. It shows weakness, which they prey on. Prey as in at a church or a temple, not prey like a mantis would do. No, the monster will be setting on its knees, hoping you to stop the endless onslaught of pointy flying spears and constant balls dropping on them. And who could blame them? When has sending someone a bunch of obnoxious spears and balls ever worked out for anyone? Stop doing it! Welcome to A Crap Guide to Monster Hunter.
This is the bow. The bow.
Everybody likes a cool bow and arrow. It's a sign of fine skill and precision. Just take a look at Legolas, Robin Hood, Katniss, Merida, Hawkeye, Green Arrow, Hanzo, Sylvanas, except that the one in World fires umbrellas, so it's a little less impressive. This last entry in the ranged weapons decides to go against the grain, trusting in the power of rope tied to a stick rather than gunpowder combustion. And although it doesn't require ammo to function, you are able to coat arrows with various different status effects depending on the equipped bow, which I don't get. If you're coating the arrows, what does it matter what type of bow you have? Moreover, why the hell does the bow affect the elemental damage of the arrows at all? My immersion is ruined, Capcom. I mean really, a giant lightning squirrel being thrown around by a walking pickle that shoots Coca-Cola out of its mouth I can handle, but this whole arrow business is just ridiculous. Back on topic, the bow went to the school of Greatsword, where you can charge up your shots up to 3 levels, but it skipped a few classes and had to bullshit the final exam. So instead of having to charge up the full way, you can circumvent the downtime by rapidly firing off arrows, each one reaching the next level of charge. And by hitting the right face button, you can fire off a shotgun blast of umbrellas, followed by a parachute dropping near infinite Gordos that seem to materialize from the void. But because the bow likes to cut corners like a low-budget animation studio, you can skip straight to the ball dropping by holding the left trigger, the right face button, the D-sharp diminish chord, the brake pedal, and rubbing your thumb on the PlayStation trackpad in the shape of a dodecahedron. Of course, the biggest hitter in the bow's moveset is the Dragon Piercer. By pressing both attack buttons, you start charging up a super umbrella, blessed by Rihanna herself, and you should hope you don't miss or else you better have her money. The greatest weakness of the bow is that it's the biggest stamina slut of the lot. Every shot requires you to expend that precious bar of tang, and you're gonna find yourself in the red a lot if you're not careful. No. Just try your best to find a window of opportunity to pussy out like a little bit. I mean, reposition to a safer spot so that you can regain stamina. And now you know how to use the bow, you're welcome.
Oh! It's coming! Sword and shield. Alright, and the last one, I'm pretty sure this is going to be the sword and shield. There have been hints the whole way along that it's going to be the sword and shield. Let's watch. Why is it so good? That's what I want to know.
Fun
What
isn't
makes it
something
great?
one considers when using the best weapon for hunting monsters. But this does put a smile on my face. The other weapons, they specialize, hoping to be able to fill a niche that caters to the hunter's playstyle, leaving themselves open to weakness. But the sword and shield, it laughs, for it has none. It's time. Welcome to a crap guide to Monster Hunter.
A crap guide to the sword and shield.
This is it, the Big Daddy, the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning of the end of every monster's career. The only reason every monster isn't extinct yet is because Capcom is sure to hold this beast back with 1,000 locks and chains. The sword and shield, the only weapon you'll ever—
Wait. Superior in every way, eats behemoth for breakfast. Give oils? Like sex on a cure? What? Well, that tells me everything I need to know, clearly.
Because it's the only one that matters. It does everything every other weapon can do 50 times better, and then some. And I do mean everything! It's got a charge up to hit the weak point for massive damage. Stunning the monster, bang bang, sit the fuck down! Rapid combos in fucking spades! Aerial attacks mounting, get that stupid cockroach toothpick shit out of here. Gunlance, blocking ability, indestructible! And don't even get me started on elemental damage. Better start collecting swords of all the elements, because you're gonna be exploiting the ever-living fuck out of those weaknesses! Except that one. Let's get rid of that. You wanna talk ailments? I got your ailments! Poison out the ass? Paralysis? Oh no, you ain't going nowhere! Sleep nighty-night, you fat lizard shit! Blast, you bet your fucking tits! Fat Joe?
99, you fat lizard shit! I just have to take a minute to appreciate that. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness me. Okay, my moment. I've had my moment. Let's keep going.
Joseph, the damage numbers are really low. Wrong, stupid. Look again. The sword and shield is the most damaging weapon in the entire game. But you just photoshopped the picture. Shut up! And this isn't even mentioning the fact that you can use items while it's unsheathed, which means you have sonic speed access to the whole of your inventory. Effectively meaning your Kongalala's shitload of an item box is basically your moveset, which means you can do disgusting shit like placing one trap after another while throwing out the never-ending laying of the definition of a smackdown. And that includes your ass blasting slinger, flash pods, screamer pods, shit staining pods. All the pain-inducing ammo types dropped from the monsters themselves are available at the press of a button.
Okay, I know that you love it. I know that you're obsessed with it, but this sounds very overwhelming to me. The ability to do absolutely everything sounds overwhelming.
Button. No need to put your delicate plates away before playing with your toys like a bitch. Woohoo! Woohoo! You ain't getting away that easily. On top of this, Capcom made it.
I gotta say, this is someone who clearly loves the game with all his soul and loves the sword and shield with even more than his soul.
Addition to the game that unintentionally buffed the sword and shield to the mountains of too fucking strong! The item wheel! You don't even need to spend 20 fucking minutes looking for the right shit anymore. Just pull up the wheel and drink up the gallons of inevitable wyvern tears. Other weapons ain't
that
got
does look
shit
cool
compared to the power of the sword and shield. King of the hunting weapons! And I know you assholes are just dripping with gross excitement juices in anticipation to see this beautiful pants-shittingly amazing weapon in action. But you best prep to shit your pants quite a few more times because that's exactly what you're getting.
I'm just gonna have a dance. Alright, dude. Maybe I'll give it a try. I mean, you did all of these breakdowns, right? And I still think the dual blades win, maybe. But maybe I'll try the sword and shield too in the beginning. You know, day one weapon trying, maybe I'll give it a look. This is insane. I actually had to turn down my headphones from all the epic! Excessive epic. Best weapon!
So yeah, I guess you could say it's pretty good. And now you know how to use all the weapons in Monster Hunter World. Most importantly, the best weapon, the sword and shield. You're welcome. And truly, from the bottom of my heart, thank you all so much for watching. And I hope to see you again very soon.
That was actually a lot of fun. I can think of worse ways to spend, what, like 30 minutes? So much fun. I definitely do think that the dual blades will be my first starting point. However, I will take a look at the sword and shield too. And now I have to actually use my brain and think about everything I've seen and anything else I want to take a look at. I do want to take a look at one of the gun bows too, maybe. Gun bow? Oh no, I've forgotten names already. Do I have to study? Do I have to study for you guys? I'll do my best. I promise I'll do my best. Alright everyone, I will see you. For me it's tomorrow, but it's actually in exactly 12 hours. Exactly 12 hours from the moment I am doing this. See you all in 12 hours for my first foray into Monster Hunter World. See you there!